Hello, everybody. I want to thank you for joining me for today's edition of Arkansas Live. It's a very special edition, special to me, and I think it will be to you. We have two guests today, Pastor Scott Stewart, pastor of Agape Church, and Christen Sanders, who is the principal of Agape Academy. If you're looking for an outstanding school to put your children in to form a great foundation academically and spiritually, then stay tuned. We're going to feature Agape Academy on today's program. Stay tuned. Arkansas Live starts right now. On my right is the principal of Agape Academy, Christen Sanders. Thank you, Christen, for taking time off to come over and share with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Well, good. And Pastor Scott Stewart, who is the pastor of Agape Church, and he is here also to share with us. The Academy has a special history to me, because when we started the church and God said, I want you to build a school. And we had a lot of people, Pastor Stewart, that prophesied to me saying, thus saith the Lord, we need a school for our children and all that. I said, well, but God's got to tell me.
You're right.
Yeah.
And then finally one day he did. And he said, I want you to do this and produce a new generation of children. Now, you attended Agape Academy.
Yes, sir.
And now you're the principal of
Yes.
Agape Academy. Wow, how neat is that?
I wouldn't ever have planned it on my own, so definitely a God thing.
Well, good. And so here we are now, so many years later, and it's on the
I didn't quite hear how many
church,
years. How
church
many?
campus.
Oh.
We had a 20-year anniversary a few years ago, and some of our students or graduates are attorneys, CPAs. It's just amazing. And I used to come down here. Well, we started actually in the rooms right off the foyer of the church. In fact, my granddaughter, Abby, she would come up and they would tell me, said, now Abby is getting ready to read today. Would you like to come down? And so, yeah, I'd go and stand, look around the corner when she was learning to read. So I want to share this with you. That I don't think there's any better education than what your child can get here at Agape Academy. So with that in mind, let's talk just about Agape Academy and its mission in providing education to young learners. They can actually enroll at what?
At 2.5.
At two and a half years old?
Very young.
Wow.
Yes.
But they're absorbing knowledge
Yes.
at that age.
Yes.
So,
I would interject here that when the kids come at 2.5, it's not just a daycare.
No.
Right.
You know, we are actively educating the children at 2.5 years of age. So I know some people think that children that young just really can't learn, but we know our kids can learn even at 2.5 years of age.
Yes.
They can learn the Word of God. They can learn letters. They can learn numbers.
I've been to some of the graduations, and to see those kids do things, you know, I don't remember when I was 2.5 years old, but I do remember that I was 6 years old when I started school, and I just can't imagine starting at 2.5 or 3 years of age. So we start at 2.5, and they go into what, K3?
Yes, K3. And then we have K4 for our 4-year-olds, and then kindergarten. And this year we're adding 3rd grade. So we're expanding back upward into the older grades. We're very excited to be bringing in older students and continuing their education even further. But every day they have Bible class, so they're learning the scripture. They're learning how to walk this life with Jesus normally. Like, how do you do it on a daily basis? As well as math and reading and phonics and science and history and all of those other important things.
Yeah, I was going to say the education part is just as important, but the spiritual part, they have chapel.
Yes, weekly chapels.
And we really feel that, you know, this is what Agape Academy attempts to do, is to return America to its foundational educational principle.
Yes.
In the beginning of our country, the schoolhouse was the church, and the primary instructor or principal was the pastor, the minister. Right. One of their major textbooks was the Bible. And this became the foundation upon which mathematics was built, upon which science was built, et cetera, et cetera. And so we strive to recreate the past so we can move the children into a stable future. Whereas, as God has been systematically removed from school life,
Yeah.
we've destabilized our society. Whereas in the past, we were much more stable as God was the foundation of our education system. And although it may not be our education system today, it is the foundation of the educational system at Agape Academy.
Yes.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think public education entered in until Horace Mann. I think Horace Mann was the
think so.
first educator that took the kids, educating of the kids, out of the family and brought it into the public arena. and it's been going down ever since.
Right.
So
That's why we try to keep our parents active and involved in the
Yes.
education. Even though we're educating the children, we try to keep the parents engaged in several different ways. You might want
Yes.
to address
So
that.
the goal for us is to partner with families. They have the mandate to raise their children, to disciple their children. We're here to support them as they do that. And so we have our PTO. They do a lot of great things for the school. They are involved in fundraising, creating community events. They're hosting a Grandparents' Day coming up. But also, we had Book Week last week, celebrating literacy and reading, and we had parents coming into the classroom, reading to the kids, or sending videos of themselves reading so they could be involved. Even if they had to be at work that day, they could still be a part of their kids' learning.
in lieu of what we see out there in the counterculture where parents are being shoved away and not allowed to speak into their child's education, you're providing just the opposite.
Yes. We're doing our best to
Yes.
to partner with families. So the church, the school, and the family all partnering together to help raise these kids.
Where the state says, you give us your children to,
Yeah.
and we'll educate them. We're saying, let us help you educate your children. So we're trying to incorporate the family into the entire ethos of the academy as opposed to separating them from one another.
That's great.
Yeah.
Can you share, Christen, some of the success stories or notable achievements from students who have attended Agape Academy? You're one of them.
I am one. We do have our K-3 teacher. She went to the academy at the same time as I did, and she's come back and serving the Lord by teaching kids. I know some students that I had a few years ago that have gone on to be really successful in high school. One just graduated being president of his class.
Wow.
So there's a lot of good things that have come out of Agape Academy.
And you even mentioned different lawyers, doctors,
Yeah.
accountants that have gone from Agape Academy and really achieved successful positions. But I would also say that we have a slew of people who've just become successful mothers,
Yeah.
wives, fathers,
Right.
providers that have once again stabilized the communities that they came from. And the fact that people would actually come back to Agape Academy to work in their adult years, I think says a lot to the quality of the community that is built here in this place. Most kids want to run from their teachers and run from their school experience, but we have them running back to us, which I think speaks a lot to what we do here.
We also have parents who used to be students bringing their children now because they know this is a safe place where their kids are going to learn about the Lord. They're going to be taught academics. And so that's really interesting to see people who were children now having children and they want them here.
It's one of the best foundations that I've ever
Absolutely.
heard of or seen. Some of my grandchildren attended. My granddaughter, after she graduated from the academy, she went to another school, a higher grade, and she really built a foundation that she would not have gotten anywhere else, especially in a public school or even in a Christian school. So we are spiritual at our core, but we're academically sound as well.
Yes.
And tell some of the subjects that these kids are going to be taught. And they're, like Pastor said, they're not babysitted. They're being taught.
Yes, they have a structure every day. So they have Bible first thing in the morning. We say the pledges to the American flag, the Christian flag, the Bible.
Imagine that.
Yes.
Patriotism in
Yes.
school.
They're
Wow.
learning civil
Yes.
civics. Okay.
And then depending on the class, obviously for K-3, they're not doing intense work, but they are doing numbers. They're learning mathematical concepts like larger and smaller and comparing, measuring. They're learning their letters, how they sound, how to write them, how to write their names, how to hold a pencil correctly.
Wow.
That's a big deal.
Yeah.
A lot of older students don't even know how to hold a pencil correctly.
I mean,
But
speaking to that, we still teach our children here cursive.
yes.
Cursive, I mean,
Yes.
Cursive writing?
Yes,
Yeah.
because I don't know if many know this, but cursive is basically being phased out of our society. Children aren't being taught cursive anymore, whereas we're still teaching, like I said, what we used to teach. We teach respect
Yes.
and honor. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. Yes, sir. No, sir. We're teaching our girls how to curtsy, our men how to bow. You open the doors for the ladies. You stand up when the women come in the room. We are teaching not just the academics and the spirituality, but the ethics of society
Yeah.
and gentlemanliness and ladiness
Yeah.
within the context of
I
of
can
school.
tell that because I work right across the alley from you all, and when I go through first, second floor to my office, the kids are very, how would I say, courteous and kind.
Okay.
I only had one young boy that I walked in one day. He came out of his classroom, and he looked at me and he said, "Who are you?" But at least he was, he just didn't take it lightly that
Yes.
somebody had just walked down his
Yes.
hall.
For sure.
Now,
Yeah.
let's talk about security just a minute,
Yes.
because a lot of people are scared because of what they see on the news. But the academy is very well secured.
It is.
Yes.
It
So-
is. We're on a 12.5 acre campus. Our facility is set to the far back of the property. We do have a gated campus. If anything happens anywhere within the vicinity of our neighborhoods, our gates will automatically close for protection. We have full-time armed security, not just a security guard, but we have our staff that are also armed. If anything happened at the academy, we would have 5 armed people that would be there for protection. We've repurposed our glass. Why don't you tell us about the glass? So the glass
So-
is new, so
We have a 3M film on it it's not bulletproof, but it slows down anyone who's trying to get through the glass,
Okay.
which gives us an opportunity to get children to safety if there were a threat.
and we have obviously electronic locking. You cannot just walk into the academy. You have to identify yourself and so forth. So we take security to a very high
Yeah.
level.
Yes.
And not just that, but tornado drills, fire drills, the things that we need to do to protect our kids, not just from individuals, but also from nature itself.
And they survived the tornado
They
back
did.
March 31st. They really were. And from what I understood and heard, they did it very orderly, and because they'd been trained.
Yes, we have
And-
monthly drills.
Yeah.
And to the
practice.
teachers' credit, to Christen's credit, when the kids came to the tornado shelter, they thought they were having a party. They weren't
didn't
fearful. They were just, and praise God for prayer that protected us during the. We didn't lose anyone. No one was hurt. Everything was fine.
And we got it all on camera.
We got all on camera. We started to do several security cameras.
How does the academy integrate technology into its teaching methods while still maintaining Christian values?
That is a difficult thing to do in this day and age because technology opens the door to everything.
Yeah.
I'm thankful that we have smart TVs that are interactive for learning. We do textbook-based learning most of the time, but we do add to that with our smart TVs. We use them for worship, but also playing learning games, practicing our writing on the board. And then we have iPads to supplement the student learning, but they don't have free access to the internet. It's very approved apps, so they only can see what we have approved, and
Right.
everything's appropriate for the students.
And where are your teachers coming from? The teachers apparently have to have a calling,
Yes.
not just be qualified, but
Right.
are they called? Do a lot of them feel that way? They're called to serve here?
Yes, yes. One of our teachers, who was formerly a student, she had no desire to be a teacher. Her mother was a teacher at the academy, and she did not care for the job. But the Lord brought her back, and she says, "I love what I do. I love my kids. I know where I'm supposed to be," and she's amazing.
And I love that about the teachers. When you talk to
Yeah.
them, they'll talk about my kids,
Yes.
Yeah.
and they take an ownership to their children that are in their classrooms, and they have truly heart vested interest in seeing them succeed in their journey.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think it makes a big difference when you've got teachers that they share in the vision, and the vision of the church is, I'm sure, communicated to the children,
Yes.
and they take ownership of that. And the kids don't have to attend Agape Church,
No.
but they can come from all different denominations.
Yes. Or even we've had families that put their children here and they're not believers. They just know that this is a good place for their kids.
That's
And so
right.
then they're hearing the gospel, they're taking it home to their parents, and we've had families come to know the Lord because of that.
I think that's a big statement when you have people who are not believers, but know that even though they don't agree with a lot of what we teach, they know that. So they're not putting their kids here for the religious education.
Right.
They're
Right.
seeing the academics, and they're saying, you know what? Even though they teach about Jesus in the Bible, the academics are such that I'm still going to put my kids here anyway.
Yes.
And that really says a lot to the academic prowess of Agape Academy.
It's a good atmosphere spiritually, and they're going to get taught academically.
Correct.
What is the scoring of the students as opposed to the averages in the public schools or even in Christian schools? How do our students score? How do they fare compared to what's out in the community?
So obviously we're higher than the public schools. Christian schools aren't required to report their test scores for public knowledge, so they keep it in-house. So that information is not readily available to us. But as far as public goes, we start testing students in kindergarten. The state's scores don't start till third grade. So we are seeing in kindergarten, our students are stronger in reading and phonics and mathematics, and then it continues to grow, and we can see areas of weakness and pinpoint that and help them continue to grow in those areas.
And it allows us to also tailor make our lessons for the children to really help empower their strengths. If you start testing in kindergarten, my goodness, how much further ahead are the children? I mean, because if you're in public school, you're going to have to wait till third grade before you get this evaluation. So we're evaluating them as early as we possibly can, which is causing us to do far beyond the national standard. And Arkansas, unfortunately, is below the national standard, so we're doing even that much better against Arkansas public schools.
I also want to mention, too, get ready to put the information up, how people can register their child. But I also want to say, even in lieu of the tornado that went past us and did some minor damage, it looks like minor damage from the outside, but financially it's not so minor.
No, sir.
But the academy's practically brand new.
Yes.
I mean, it's been repainted, it's been recarpeted, it's just like going to a new school.
Yes.
And if you drive by Napa Valley, 701 Napa Valley Drive, and you see Agape Academy, and you see the church, Agape Church, that's where we're located. The academy is in its own building. Here's the website, agapeacademy.org. So there it is on your screen. And then if you want to email, you can email office@agapeacademy.org. Of course, the address is 701 Napa Valley Drive. And the phone is area 501-225-0068. So there's the phone number, there's the physical address, and there's the website and the email address. So would they contact you, Christen, or would they just
That would be our office manager.
office manager? If you want to come and visit, I guess you would schedule a visit
Yes.
for them to come and look at the facilities. And you can talk to them about age and class and tuition and what it
Yes.
costs and all of that. So,
Yep.
all right.
Speaking of tuition, with the new LEARNS Act,
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. How the LEARNS Act, if you've heard of that, how does that help some
well,
parents?
Arkansas is once again kind of becoming the pointed end of a wonderful spear, which is that we're leading the way in allowing your tax money. Of course, people may know this, but everyone pays tax towards the public school system.
Right.
And the new legislation, which is signed in by the governess, she said that the tax money now follows the student. So if you're wanting to put your child into private schooling, whether Christian or otherwise, the state will actually pay the institution the amount of tax money that would have gone to the public school. So I know many people have said we would love to have given private education to our children, but we couldn't afford it. For a lot of people, that reasoning's taken off the board, because now you can have your private education almost completely paid for. It's limited right now. Next year, everyone who goes to school will have that covered for them. What are the limitations that we have this year?
So this year, first-time kindergartners, those going into first grade, those in a D or F rated public school, those who've been in foster care or have been adopted out of foster care, students with disabilities. I'm trying to remember them all.
Was it military also?
Military, active duty, and veterans.
Wow.
Law enforcement, first responders. They're
Wow.
opening it up to a lot of people. And we have students that have fallen into a lot of those categories. Almost our whole kindergarten class, they didn't have to pay tuition this year. So
Huge.
it was great for them. We have students in second and third grade or going into second and third grade that are receiving it because their parents are active duty military or a veteran. And so it's opened the doors for a lot of things. Now, it doesn't qualify for preschool. Preschool, that's still on the parents.
Yeah.
But kindergarten through 12th grade, it's out there for everyone. Or not everyone, but most everyone.
Yeah, but next year it's all
Next year,
Next year,
25.
yeah. So this is going to be, it will be transformational, I think, to a lot of children, a lot of families, because
Yes.
for the first time, children can get a quality private education at basically no cost.
Yeah.
to them.
And you correct me if I'm wrong or right, but I would think that the formative years, the K3 of 2.5, in that first category up to the third, fourth, fifth grade, I would think that that's the foundation of a child's learning. They're learning how to function in society and be gentle and kind and serving and so forth. I would think that's the most important thing. I know my father used to put that importance on in school. We used to get citizenship marks along with grades. And the first thing he'd look at when I brought a report card home was he'd look at the citizenship.
Yeah.
And they'd check satisfactory or unsatisfactory in each grade. Then they'd have your academic grade. I would be more apt to get a whipping if I had low citizenship marks
Yeah.
than if I'd had A's or B's, which I never seemed to be able to attain those. But I did bring the citizenship marks up, basically because I didn't want to get a spanking when I went home. It was not child abuse now. It was just
Yeah.
stimulating the seed of learning.
It's just discipline.
He placed more importance on that
Yeah.
than he did the education.
Yeah.
But at Agape Academy, you get both.
Yes.
Yes.
You get the spiritual. Let me put this information up here one more time because I don't want you to miss it. You've heard some of the things we've talked about. Now, here's the way you contact Agape Academy now that you know things are about it. And you can ask Christen or the office manager more questions. The website is agapeacademy.org. And the email is office@agapeacademy.org. The phone is area 501-225-0068, and the address is 701 Napa Valley Drive, 72211. And let me just say this too, the whole reason for the school to start when it did was to provide an on-site education for the church members, their kids. And so if you're a family and you're looking to connect all the dots, you move your whole family to Agape Church, and that way your kids can go to the academy, your youth can go into our youth network. In fact, I've been watching now our new youth minister, Derek. I've been watching. Well, we got more youth coming to church on Sunday mornings
Yes.
than ever before.
Yeah.
He's really emphasizing getting them to come on Sunday morning and on Wednesday nights and to sit into the teaching. So it's been great.
And that's good church growth. So if you want to have the whole family involved, then bring your whole family to Agape Church. We have children's ministry, we have youth ministry, and the academy. I mean, it's a one package, serves the whole family. They get educated, they get ministered to. Pastor Scott is an excellent teacher.
Praise the Lord.
You just need to bring your hearing devices with you so you can hear at the rate of his teaching. I love it when you get going so fast. You say, "Up, I got to back up," and you back up, teaching. But a wealth of knowledge and education, and for the whole family. Let's see, anything you want to add, Christen?
Did we want to mention the ACE? Is that
Oh,
but there's another
yes.
scholarship program if you don't qualify for the
Oh,
Learns. There's
okay.
another scholarship program that we
Yes.
have been approved to participate in.
Yeah, so it's the ACE scholarship, and it is designed specifically for private schools. And it is kindergarten through third grade for us, and they can stack. So if you were to qualify for the ACE scholarship, which is income-based, and you qualified for the Learns Act, you can stack those amounts together, and you can use the Learns Act for uniforms or tutoring or whatever else you might need as far as educational services.
Great.
So even for a family of 4, the income level is $105,000. And so most people would fall under that and would qualify for some financial help, which is wonderful.
What about multiple child discounts if they have more than one child?
We do offer a multiple child discount, 5% for
Okay.
the children, and a church member discount.
Yes.
So if you are a church member, then
There's a discount for that
Yes.
too.
Aha,
Yes.
there's another advantage. Okay, upcoming events, we just got about a minute and a half. Anything that's
Okay.
going on? Seems like there's always something going on
Yes.
in
Well,
a school.
our registration opens March 15th for the public. So if you're interested in registering your child, you need to get in touch with us soon because it's a first come, first served basis. Once the class is full, it's full, and you'll just have to be on the waiting list till next year.
Okay, Pastor Scott?
I just encourage anyone out there who maybe, if you're a grandparent
Yeah.
and maybe your children can't quite afford or can't participate in some way, maybe they can't transport the children here. As a grandparent myself, we are very much invested in our grandchildren's education. So I would encourage everyone to expand the family unit to help the children get into a good place like Agape Academy. It'll change their life.
Amen. Now, March 15th was the key date that Christen mentioned, so you need to get busy. And I would assume you would accept some people if they were a little bit late or
Oh,
whatever.
yes.
But mainly, get the ball rolling and get started now. And put your kids in Agape Academy, located at 701 Napa Valley, and you have the information on the website. So, thank you for coming today.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
And I appreciate it. And remember, Jesus is Lord of Arkansas, and wherever you're watching, to
Send your questions, comments, and testimonies to Happy Caldwell at Post Office Box 26207, Little Rock, Arkansas 72221, or email happycaldwell@vtntv.com. Remember to follow VTN on Facebook at VTN Your Arkansas Christian Connection, and follow Happy Caldwell on X at Happy_Caldwell. VTN is on Roku. Search VTN in the channel store and add us to your lineup. Today's episode is available to watch on demand at VTNTV.com and click Watch. You can also watch VTN via live stream at VTNTV.com.